lightning to come down. Lightning is coming down.
I like that.
That opening. Yeah, that opening graphic's sick. I meant to tell you, Jess. It's fucking.
Oh, the lightning. $2.99. Yeah. I paid $2.99 for
it. Worth every penny.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wanted to do it. I just saw an animated ad or whatever, and it's like, animate your graphic. I'm like, I would like that. Or animate your logo. I'm like, that's what I would like to do. And
that sounds like a plan.
I clicked on it, and I was like, $2.99.
2002 porn company.
Yeah, it's a huge penis and lightning. Well, no. That's wrong. I don't want that.
Presented by Big Vagina Production.
It's a huge vagina.
Tell ChatGPT that's wrong, Craig.
Lightning hits it.
That's not what I asked for.
Oh, man. Well, he's dead.
All right.
So after all these, after like what, 2 months of all these people, like half people going, no, I know things and he's not doing well. And the other half going like, no, he's fine. I just saw him yesterday. We just played shuffleboard. Like it's been chaos, and it's super fitting, you know, like I sound chipper and I don't know why. Cause before we hit record, I was like, I don't know how I'm not going to cry like in this or whatever, because I've been ashamed to wear this shirt for a long time. And I do want to start off with the negative part about him.
Understandable.
Is that he deserves all the venom that anybody wants to give him. I've seen such blunt posts as like, I'm glad he's dead. And it's a picture of him, and that's
I've seen videos of the same.
And that's their post. Like, and you know what?
I'm glad he's dead. Fuck that guy, and
that's
fuck
fine.
you.
Anybody who,
I was like, wow.
Even if you grew up with him during that era, if you feel that way, that's fine. Like I said this also too before we record, you know, it's that old saying, you know, you made your bed, now you have to lay in it. And that fine. And this is what he deserves. And we can only speak to certain things because of who we are, the color of our skin, and we're men. And so it's like, it's hard for me to try to sympathize with people that were hurt by his comments. Not that I don't recognize that they were hurtful, terrible comments, but like, if you're not in that state of living and it doesn't hurt you the way it would hurt people that are not white, to hear him say what he said, and then to hear him say it, the American hero, Hulk Hogan, you know, like it's earth shaking, you know, for people. So, and if you didn't grow up, if you started watching wrestling after the 2000s, you never experienced Hulkamania or really like the prime of the NWO either. So like it doesn't, and by the way, it doesn't matter if you did or didn't grow up in that time. You have the right to feel and post whatever you want, and whatever your feeling is, yes. That's all I say is yes, you feel that way. But Craig made it perfect. He's like, everybody else is delving in that. There's a lot of other people making all of it about that. But we decided, we're a podcast that we try to be topical every week. And I would be a liar if I said anything else but the only reason why I know you guys is because of him. And it's the truth. I watch pro wrestling because of Hulk Hogan. Because I saw him when I turned on the television one day, 100%. And I couldn't look away, and he was my hero. He was my absolute hero. In my teens, even in my early 20s, I supported him when you guys were assholes and say terrible things about him. He's old, he's stupid, and I'd be like, "Shut up, guys!" And like, but we would always fight and watch pay-per-views at my house or at my parents' house. We would fight like it was fucking real. And when Hogan got beat, goddamn cocksucker Joe, and like all you guys would cheer, and I'd be like, "God, I hate you guys!" Like. It was some of our fondest.
I don't think I cheered, but
it was some of our fondest memories, and like you know, looking back on him now, and I'm not trying to steal the spotlight, but I was ashamed to wear this, and I'm wearing it to say goodbye, like to him today, because yesterday when I heard in the morning, I was at work, and so I couldn't, you know. I had to no-sell everything, to use a wrestling term, and I was like, what? Like when I first read it, I texted you guys right away on the thread. And I was just numb for a bit, and I was just like, wow, like, first of all the rumors are true. Again, it's not just when you see smoke, there's fire. It's when you consistently see smoke, there's fire. And Hulk's
when you don't see it because he was posting, but he wasn't really posting. And there was no new video of him, and everybody was saying he was fine. The fantastic thing about it that Craig said as a joke when Jimmy Hart said, "Oh, everything's good," and then Bischoff said, "I just saw him, he's fine." And Craig's like, "Oh, I'll believe the shot jock that got him in all that trouble." Thanks. And we thought I was laughing my ass off. I was like,
because
when he passed away, I was like, I guess we should have all believed the shot jock.
Hulk never met camera or never met publicity he didn't like. So all of a sudden he's just not on TV, but then ever not on camera, and everybody's saying he's fine. I'm like, we all knew he wasn't at that point. And,
and they say he suffered from a heart attack, which is probably not untrue. This is speculation, and I'm sure it'll come out in months.
Some stuff has been come out. It was a procedure that he went through in May.
Of course,
it damaged his trachea, I think, and he just never. It was downhill from that. They knew that it was going to be a sensitive procedure anyway, and he's had so many surgeries, and the anesthesia was going to be a problem already for him at 71. Also,
71, right?
A guy who's been under the knife so many times, you start becoming immune to that, and your body starts rejecting it, and you can die from it on the table. But his recovery was rough from this procedure anyway. But they thought that he would pull through it, but they damaged his trachea.
What I would say is
like that. Yeah.
The final cause of death is probably definitely cardiac arrest. But what I would tell you is I wouldn't be surprised if he got sent home in hospice and he would never woke up from the procedure to begin with, or if he was there, he wasn't cognitively there. Just like Bubba was saying, what I'm telling you is that's going to be the cause of death on the sheet. But and again, you can argue about COVID and secondary infections. People die from cardiac arrest, but really what they died of was COVID. The final thing on the sheet says this, but everything that Bubba was saying, it seems to really come back and resonate. You're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, I have people in my family, hit their head, get a brain bleed, but they ultimately died of heart failure.
Yeah,
but that's not what causes heart failure. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, and it does strain on the heart. Eventually, your heart gives out. Yeah. So you had a heart attack,
and like everything else. Real world is faker than wrestling. Like, I think the truth's in the middle, right? So you had people on his side saying he's fine. Talked to him yesterday, all is good, and then people on the side, gloom and doom, dead, brain dead, and somewhere in the middle is probably the absolute truth. He was always in critical care. It was touch and go. It was always touch and go, and he had a cardiac arrest this morning, or 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
I mean, we were saying before we started, like, we have done nothing but shit on Hogan the last every single story. Like,
sorry,
it's a 90-10.
Okay, so in the context, Craig, you're right. Like,
but let me just quick finish.
Please.
But beyond that, like, as soon as we heard, like, to us, and I was saying this before the podcast, we are 35 plus years professional wrestling fans. If you want to go explore the hate and what a bad guy he was, like, legitimately, like, go do it. Like, here,
you'll find some shit.
I want to this week and until I'm like ready again, I'll still share the memes. But what I want to do, because it's a pro wrestling podcast about people who love wrestling for 35 years, I want to celebrate what he's done in the business, because that's what's being overshadowed actually in a lot of this like stuff that you're kind of hearing. And a lot of what we talk about, care about on a granular basis is his matches, his performance, his impact, and how he's influenced everything else and created what the behemoth of wrestling is today.
And like, to say a bad guy, like, yeah, okay, like, I see what you're saying with that too, but like, there's been an overwhelming amount of people that have worked with him that says, like, he's not a bad guy. The problem with Hogan is that it's kind of like Flair, where I don't know, even when he was Terry and he was just talking in this voice, he's not Hulk Hogan. I don't think he ever knew how to separate himself. He was always working. He was always like creating drama. Even when he's caught on tape talking the way he's talking, it's ridiculous. It's just, it has to be drama filled. It has to be. And some of these guys and girls can't ever shake it. When they get older, they're just still shilling and they're still selling the snake oil. And I don't think he ever knew how to separate himself from that. I'm not trying to paint him as a sympathetic figure either, because he was very much in control and he knew how to make millions of dollars, obviously, over and over again. Even after he gave half of it away, I'd
argue he definitely knew the difference between the character and the man.
Because who had to be the biggest carny out of the whole thing is Hogan.
But what I mean, Dave, is like, you're right, he did, and that's what makes him a snake oil salesman. But at the same time, I think he was always trying to connect with that. Like, he had to make everything a show, even in his private life, and it always had to be something. It was an angle, or it was a, you know what I mean? Like, it was always was very weird.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
He'll do shitty things in back in politic and fuck people over. But like some people, like most of the people I've heard from, all of the people that worked for him, even Orndorff, who wasn't before he passed away, who wasn't friendly with Hulk, he was like, Terry was great, man. Like he was. Look, man, we weren't hugging buddies. That's his exact phrase was, we weren't hugging buddies or anything, but he was like, Terry was great. And like, he knew what he was doing, and he knew like, hey, do this and we're going to make a shitload of money. And he's like, so I said, all right. And like, you know, and they did it.
I think the biggest way to discern it is this, and it kind of came upon, and we've talked about it before too, but I have another thread
before it leaves my brain, he was selfish. Mm-hmm. He was a very selfish person.
Yeah. But a lot of wrestlers in those days were selfish. But I was talking to another thread, a primarily AEW friend thread, and they're very AEW heavy. It's what they like, and I get it. That's AEW fine because they're doing great.
It's great.
Yeah, AEW. He's not in there. But one of them kept constantly going back and forth. Like, I don't know how to respond. I don't know how to feel about this because I love what he did for the sport. I love what he did for sport entertainment, but I can't fucking stand him. And I said, hey, man,
get mad.
Both things can be true. Both things can be true. It's okay. Yeah. I said, especially in this industry, when you are playing a character all the time, and if that character changed the business forever, which he did along with Vince with that help and that setup for WWF back in the day, changed the business forever. And then to Justice's point, he did it again with the NWO and WCW, where heels can be fucking cool and heels can sell merch. That never happened before. That changed everything again. That should be commended. That should be amazing. He made so much money for him, not only for himself, but so many other wrestlers in the business.
Yeah, correct.
But he's a piece of shit too, and both
aside
can be
from
true.
maybe The Rock, Hulk Hogan,
he was racist.
He was to the fans. He would never have taken a photo or taken a signature.
That all happened. That all happened.
And The Rock has
did
Hollywood,
horrible
of course.
things to people. But I will tell you, I mean, and this is where Jess the Snake Oil Salesman comes to play. There's a story that I heard on socials. This kid was following Hogan when he was just a kid, just getting his teeth, into something, and following Hogan around the radio circuit when the radio was still big. And they would and what do radio people ask you to do? Hey, can you do a quick promo for the radio station?
TMZ.
And Hogan's like, well, how do you want me to do it? You want me to do it as just me as Terry and this deep voice? Nice to meet you. And he was very calm and cordial, and he was Terry with them. And he's like, and most of them, they said, you want me to do it as this, or you want me to do it as the Hulkster? And most of them would say, can you do the Hulkster, bro? We would really like the Hulkster. And he would just turn it on like that. Well, brother, you know what? It's 103.7. Let's talk about it. It's Hulkamania. It's running wild. And listen to 103.7, whatever it would be. And he would just turn it on. And they're like, can you do it one more time, but add this to it? And he would do it. The man was a master of his craft. But to your point, Jess, when you do that and you run back and forth between the personas, it gets a little greasy. It gets a little snake oily, like you said.
The way to sum up, because we were all debating this all the last couple of days on our Reddit thread of all the hosts of the show. And I just, I read something in Reddit. It's not mine. It resonated with me. It was just like, Terry Bollea as a human being was not the greatest man, but Hulk Hogan was a god. And I was like,
sums it up.
That's it, right? Like,
it is true.
Yeah.
And he was a product of everything too. He was a shitty dad, even though like he tried to act like he wasn't, because he exploited.
He was never there.
He exploited his
family. Was never there.
Well, not even that.
And then when he got there, they didn't want him around.
Yeah.
If you watch Hogan's Knows Best, it's not comfortable. That's not a comfortable show.
If your career is being away from your family for 320 days a year, it is going to happen, and that's the sacrifice.
And then, and even when they got together, it was just he exploited them to make money, and that's what he always did. He exploited Brooke forever, like trying to make money off her and everything. And
towards the end, she completely separated herself from him and her mom because they were so abusive, verbally and physically in some sense.
Yeah. So again, it's the old adage of I know here we are like dwelling on the negative because it's emotional and
we'll get
again, back to you made your bed, now lay in it. He deserves all of this. Like any praise we want to give him and any you want to shit on him, go ahead. Like because it's disappointing for me. It's why I was embarrassed to wear this before, not just for the comments. that was on the sex tape, and then the jail call to Nick and all that shit, like where he was just a shitty person. But it's just the not giving back to the business and always angling people and cutting young people off at the knees and fucking them up, and like when they could have been something, but now, like, going to TNA.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Going to TNA when you goddamn well knew you could barely walk, but he booked himself over everybody else, and like it just taking the money and running. It's like, man, like I was disappointed with him for a lot of different things before both tapes even came out. And that's why I was ashamed to wear it, because he made me mad. He's my hero. And he just is fuck. I wish we could tell better stories about him. I wish that CM Punk would tell the stories about, when Austin would come in the room going, "You guys good?" And just to talk to the young people, he would go into the locker room on purpose with the young people and say, "Hey, I just want to say hi to you guys. Steve Austin." Like, and didn't have to do any of that. And there's so many other people that would do that. Other people of that stature would just go into a locker room and be like, "Are you guys okay?" And like all the rookies like, "Fuck, this fucking so-and-so. Holy shit." Like, and it's like, they did that. He never did that. And it pisses me off. And like, it really pisses me off that him and Flair are shitheads. And like, I'm just like, dude, like, you guys, like, people hang on your every word. Like, you're Hulk Hogan. Like, and the only good thing that I will say, and hopefully now we could transition into the better stuff, is like hearing people that I know were big critics of him, like the Alvarezes and the Meltzers and all that stuff. And people were like, they at least now can take a breath and just go like, he was pretty fucking good. Like, and to hear them say that about Hogan, and you could say a lot about his
That's
work
exactly
rate.
what I'm doing, Jess. I'm taking a breath and realizing
to hear Meltzer say he changed, along with Vince, he changed wrestling. Forever.
I mean, Brian Alvarez, like, I don't know, guys. Like, if we'd be sitting here right now running this website and doing this podcast, if it
he said there wouldn't be a pod. He said there wouldn't be a pod without
if it wasn't for him.
You asked earlier about good stories about Hogan. All three of us have met him in general. And I know you two met him together, and he was gracious and stuff. And I will say, Hulk Hogan as a person, like, I actually had him, I asked real quick, and I asked him to film, to record something for Jess for your wedding.
Yeah,
and he did it.
I was going to say that too. Like, at my wedding, like, you were my best man, and you got up there and you played a recording that I had no idea was coming, and he ran into Hulk Hogan at an airport, and it was during Hogan's divorce and all that stuff. And he said Hogan looked like shit. He looked like he had been through it. And Craig's like, dude, like, I'm going to be the best man at, my friend's wedding, and him and his wife, are going to get married. If you could say he loves you, if you could say something to congratulate him and his wife, and he recorded in there, "Congratulations, Jess and Liz," and Craig played that at my fucking wedding, which I'm divorced. So I don't know if that's but I mean, I will never forget that, because I'm like, he didn't have to do that. There's a lot of other stories that we as well in Vegas when we saw him when he first got big with the NWO, Halloween Havoc '96, and all the wrestlers were up on this one bar. I think it was called the Betty Boot Bar. And
it was the Betty Boot Bar.
It was in MGM, and we couldn't get on because we weren't 21 yet. And so like we were waiting at the base of the bar, but so many wrestlers got on there. It was so crowded. And of course, people start to stop in the walkway. In casinos, for safety reasons, you cannot block the aisles because there's so many volumes of people coming in there. And we just see coming in like this huge commotion. I mean, already there's a lot of people around the bar because wrestlers are there. And then we just see this huge commotion. And I see this bandana bobbing up and down. And I was like, fuck, that's Hulk Hogan. And he walked in, and I mean, everybody on the slot machines and everything stopped dead. And he gets up on the bar, and everyone is blocking the walkway. Security's yelling, "Oh, keep moving. You cannot stop," or whatever. And I'll never forget it. Hulk looks down at one of the security guards and goes, "What's the problem?" And the guy's like, "Oh, sir, like, they can't stop. It's a casino policy. You can't just stop in the aisle. It's a fire hazard, blah, blah, blah." And people were standing up on their fucking slot machine chairs, like, to see him. And Hulk's like, "Well, why don't I make a deal?" And he's announcing this to a big section of the casino. Everyone's fucking dead silent. And Hulk's like, "How about if we make a deal, brother? If I flash these biceps and you guys take your pictures, and then you guys agree to move on, so he'll stop complaining." And like, it was just perfect. And everyone's like, "Yes." And
everyone's like, "Yeah."
He flashed, he stood up and he flashed on the fucking stoop. And and like everyone ching took all these pictures or whatever. And he's like, "All right, guys, go, keep moving. And it was fucking brilliant. And he didn't have to do any of it. He didn't have to care about anybody in that area, but he did. When Dave and I went and saw him for that charity event in 2000 and
Night of Champions in Anaheim,
2005 or 6, I don't remember. We go to the pond, and his line was longer than Magic Johnson's, was longer than Pete Rose, was longer than anybody else that was there. And Hulk would walk the line. Like, we were in line for like an hour, and Hulk would walk the line going, we were getting around the bend where we were going to see his booth, and I'm looking down, and I just look up, and I see like this man that I've known my whole life, like just standing there. And he's like, I just want to apologize, guys. I know the line's long, but thank you so much for staying in here. We're going to get to you as fast as we can. And he goes, walks all the way back and sits down. He did not have to do that. There's no like.
Not only that, Jess, they were only contracted to be there for I think 45 minutes to an hour, and they were there for almost twice that amount because his line, to your point, was 3 times longer than any other line. Period. Yeah. Him and Mr. T kind of got on the coattails at the last minute, which I still have I don't know if you can see it. I have the Mr. T signature right there. But that's from Night of Champions. And Hogan would come around the corner and give you a little flex, and then people would go, yeah, and then he would go back.
That's drive, and that's professionalism. That's knowing how, like, the impact. I think Cena knows it, and certain others. It's like,
Cena knows it.
Tom Cruise is another big guy who does that. Who makes sure he impacts everybody's life, from the grips to the fucking catering people or whatever. He knows
all their names. Yeah,
it's people that realize, like, one, like, not right now, man, or not like that can affect.
Not right now.
Like, he knows the power of every single individual.
Dusty
so
Rhodes.
It's like those. Sorry, like 300 people in that casino could have said, "Man, Hogan was kind of a dick. Like, they kept pushing us along. Whatever. He didn't do anything." It's like that man knows how to make that moment and what he means to everybody for that microsecond, right? So, like, even those little tiny things, his drive. You don't spend that much on that. You don't spend 40 years destroying your body. And who gives a shit if he wanted to go in the middle of the car because he wanted to get room service to get out of there? Like, he was on the road and he did the thing and grinded for 40 years in that business and did it at the top when everyone is gunning for your spot. Like, he's genius, like an incredible fucking man, like, in what he's done.
Oh,
he really is a company man too. Sorry, I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to play this.
Let's see it.
This is from the Stevie Richards show. Sorry, Stevie Richards. I hope you don't get mad that we take this, whatever. But I thought that
these clips that I
pulled, I thought that
not going to get mad, Jess. What I'll say is, when I was Blue Meanie, I had a conversation. That's a bad.
That him and the host. No, it's fine. It's him and the host. I thought that, like, these clips, they perfectly encapsulated what I felt like just about him.
Did you ever meet Hogan, Stephen? Did you meet him?
Hogan, the WWE.
1-year-old wrestling legend Hulk Hogan, who had been battling health issues following neck surgery in May, passed away this morning. This was the report yesterday from TMZ. Fire and police personnel responded to Hogan's Clearwater home at 9:51 a.m. following a medical-related call. Now, the call is out there. I don't know who's morbid enough to actually want to listen to it, but it's out there if you want to find it. Also, a bystander filmed Hogan being taken out on a stretcher or on a gurney. Following a medical-related call, Hogan was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Clearwater Fire Department, this is a quote, and Clearwater Police Department personnel responded to a medical call at 9:51 a.m. today, 1000 Eldorado Avenue on Clearwater Beach. The police statement said the nature of the call was for a cardiac arrest. A 71-year-old resident, Terry Balea, also known as Hulk Hogan, was treated by Clearwater Fire and Rescue crews before being taken by Sunstar to Morton Plant Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Hulk Hogan's time of death was 11:17 a.m. Eastern, and a police conference was held today.
Pronounced dead at 7:30, and then pronounced him dead at 11?
I can't remember if it's today or yesterday. I'm sorry.
He was dead for
where they said they were conducting a standard death investigation, and there was no signs of foul play or suspicious activity.
That's just, I wanted kind of like more of an official...
Except for having a surgery at 71 years old, which is speculative, but I know he was in pain.
And having a vaccine 10 years ago. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Had to do it. Had to do it, bro.
That's the greatest thing you've ever said, probably.
Yeah. Let's talk about this very briefly.
And you said a lot of brilliant things. That was awesome.
The chip in the arm did it, bro. The chip in the arm.
Briefly, just how good he was to the fans.
Jesus.
Do your research.
No, man. I mean, but
aside from maybe The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and The Rock has Hollywood, of course.
When you go to the beginnings of Hulkamania and you talk about We're not going to get over that, are we?
Actually, before you, David, I'll let you continue, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
as always.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to transition on.
To that point of Dustin Rhodes did a tweet that said something like, "Hospitals kill people. That's all I need to say." And it was a very strange tweet from Dustin Rhodes, and I don't think Dustin Rhodes was specifically talking about the conspiracy of vaccines, but I wondered.
He's probably talking about the surgery.
Yes, I think he was, and just hospitals in general. And I was like, that's a very strange thing from Dustin Rhodes. Before we move on, and I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that.
But can I say this though? Like, it's really weird that like funeral homes lay a lot of people to rest. That's all I want to say. Like, it's like by the time you get to a hospital, most people have either ignored symptoms or they get there and you die there. So hospitals kill people. No, I mean people wait a lot, or they don't have
insurance. Water's wet, bro.
Yeah,
oh my God. You know what? Sometimes the smartest answer is the easiest. That's exactly right.
It's ridiculous.
That's exactly.
That happens. You know, people they don't have insurance. They're trying to weigh out their finances while an infection's ravaging their body. So they're just trying to do this out. I don't make enough money. I can't miss work. All this stuff, and then when they finally go, they fucking die. Like because
they go to the hospital. I can't poop. Oh, you have colon cancer.
God damn it! That's yes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Continue on.
No. I was just trying to transition. I mean, to kind of give people an idea of what if you want to talk about the Hogan legacy, right? There's a couple of things you can talk about briefly. Hogan almost didn't make it into wrestling because when he went into tryouts, a veteran broke his leg just to see if he'd come back. That's the story that's told. I don't know how true that is, but
it's totally true.
He did break his leg. He did break his leg. Came back a year later, makes it through. Gets some traction in the WWF, I believe, with Vince's dad, and then decides that he is going to do a Rocky film where he's going to be Thunder Lips, and Vince's dad goes, "If you go, you're fired." I don't know if he talked the same way.
They did for the story.
Does an amazing appearance in a movie, gets all sorts of traction, and then goes to AWA for a spell. I believe AWA champion there. And
he was not. No, that's the reason why he left. So Nick Bockwinkel was.
Oh, they would make a champion. That's right.
And they did a bust. It's funny. So funny that Dusty Rhodes gets labeled as the Dusty finish, where the face will get the win and jump up and down, and then like everyone and the belt gets handed off or whatever. But then a second ref will come in and be like, "No, I saw Flair get thrown over the top rope." So it's a DQ. Like, and they called that the Dusty finish because Dusty would do that all the time. The only reason why it was called the Dusty finish was because he did it too much when wrestling was on national television. That hurts because if you go to territory and you never see each show, that keeps each territory interested as you go around. But if you do it on national television, we all see it
every week.
So we all see it, so it gets old quick. But back then, they were doing Dusty finishes where Hulk would pin Bockwinkel, and then like Heenan would throw brass knuckles to Bockwinkel. Bockwinkel would fuck it up. Hogan would get it, punch him in the face, and then tuck it in his tights, and then go for the pin. The place fucking would be jumping up and down. Hulk got the belt, he's holding it up, and then guess what falls out conveniently? The fucking brass knuckles. And then the ref's like, "You're fucking DQ'd." Like, so they did that a couple times. And then Hulk went to Vern and said, who was known to be paranoid, by the way, and be like, if I don't trust you, you're not going to be my champion. And Hulk's like, dude, I should be champion. Like, I sell way more merchandise.
He should have been.
Like, the place is going crazy. That's where Hulkamania started, by the way, even on the video package tonight, and everybody keeps saying that when Hulk beat Sheet, Hulkamania was born. It was not. Hulkamania was born from Hulk Hogan in the AWA. He would sell his own t-shirts at tables after shows. And Vern didn't do that as a company. Hulk, when Vince came aboard, Vince was like, "I love the t-shirt thing. I'll give you a percentage." And Hulk's like, "So I don't got to sit out and shrill them?" He's like, "Nope." And he's like, "I like you." And that's a big reason why. Like,
we're going to be good friends.
That's why the AWA is still around today. And
Hulk was selling out venues.
Oh, no.
And so I guess Vern was like, "No." So Hulk called his bluff and he said, "Yeah, well, Vince Jr. is going to offer me all this money or whatever, and we're going to take it national, so I'm going to go." And he's like, "Good, bullshit. Like, go ahead and go." So Hulk put in his notice, and Vern never did. Vern's like, "What do you mean you're gone next week?" And he's like, "I put like a fucking month notice in, dude. Like, I'm out of here. Like, I told you I'm out of here." And then right after Hulk, Gene Okerlund, Bobby Heenan, Andre the Giant.
They all bounced.
They all bounced because when Vince Sr. was dying, like a lot of them went out of of loyalty to him. Ken Patera, like all of these other people that were really big for Vern fucking left. And then all of a sudden you had this powerhouse. You had the NWA, and then you had AWA, and then you had Vince like going like, no, dude, we're going to go national. And he started sucking the life out of all the territories and all that stuff. And that's how it started.
And then Coco and all these guys start coming with him. All these guys from other
Hulk
territories.
Started that. He started that siphon, like, you know, when you're siphoning gas out of a fucking thing. Hulk, like that first rush was like Hulk going over and Vince going, this is my thing. And you got even heels are going to get merchandise. You're going to sell dolls. You're going to fucking get merchandise checks. Even Greg Valentine.
Ice cream bars.
Yeah,
and that's on you, Vern, for not seeing that immediately and letting him go to Vince, who obviously
letting him walk. Like, yeah,
you saw the dream with him. You saw his potential.
Thanks for that, buddy. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with my skinny son Greg instead. I think that's a better chance.
And at the end of the day,
it was close. It was either gonna be Hulk or Greg that was gonna break through.
Oh Jesus!
What do you do?
So, God, could you imagine?
But I want to play this. We've already kind of touched on this. But I like the way that he states this and the way he says it. I just like the way he's put together.
Aside from maybe The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and The Rock has Hollywood, of course, Hulk Hogan is the most famous wrestler in the history of the business. I think that's pretty well established, more than El Santo, more than Ricky Dozan or Inoki, more than Big Daddy over here, because he wasn't really famous anywhere apart from the UK. Hulk Hogan really...
I grew up loving Big
You
Daddy.
Could show a picture of Hulk Hogan in Outer Mongolia and they'd recognize him. He was one of the most recognizable faces in the world, even 25 or so years after he stopped wrestling full-time, which I think is an incredible achievement. Now, he also sold more tickets to arenas over the long term than any other wrestler in history. I think that's without doubt.
Right.
He's largely responsible for the immense change in the wrestling landscape in the mid-1980s, bringing pro wrestling back into mainstream consciousness after 30 some odd years being relegated to the territories and like UHF stations. Because I think wrestling disappeared from network in like maybe the mid-50s or something around there. His talents were immense. This is my words, and hopefully you'll add more to it, Stevie. His talents were immense. Impeccable timing, excellent selling, exceptional charisma, presence, promos. How a man billed at 6'7" could get sympathy by selling and fighting from underneath is a talent I don't think anyone of that size has ever come close to mastering. He was a huge man who he was... Maybe this is... I think it's true. He was as good at selling as Ricky Morton. He would reach out to the fans, sweat in his eyes that looked like tears. He dragged people,
Don't break my back,
up onto
bro.
their feet to support him. No one was as good at it as him. He was... I can't say enough about how great a wrestler he was.
And I'll go into like Stevie's.
All you give Stevie is
but no, I clipped Stevie after that too, and there's a part where Stevie goes on to that too. But no, like it's true, and it's why I've always said that like Hulk is probably one of the best workers I've ever seen, and he's right up there with Flair and anybody else that you want to say. You know, like he was talking about Ricky Morton and Ricky Steamboat. There's going to be, well, maybe will go into, let me see if I have the right clip here.
TMZ first reported that the 7...
oh, God damn it. Hang on a second.
I think people also, they confused these two words.
Yes, I think this is it too. So I want to bring, Stevie really like talks about like this here too. And I enjoy it.
I love Stevie Richards' show. That's an underrated show. Like, he's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think people also, they confused these two words all the time. Great wrestler, great worker. We differentiated in wrestling as you're talking about wrestling, you're talking about amateur wrestling, you're talking about a Kurt Angle, level of ability with amateur wrestling, and that's not what professional wrestling is.
I'm sorry, a great worker. I will change that. He was a great worker.
But it's same difference. It is the same difference. I'm just saying when people say that, it's semantics. He's the greatest professional wrestler that ever lived or ever will live, probably. He's the greatest worker that ever lived or probably ever will live. And here's why he stands out. His selling was on a level of Ricky Morton, Ricky Steamboat are the two, in many eyes, two of the best sellers to get sympathy. The thing that made Hogan different was because he was Hulk Hogan, 6'7", 320 at that point in the 80s during that boom. Or you could say, well, he's only 300. He's still a huge dude. The reason it made him so
bro.
great is because he could sell, but when it came time to Hulk up and make the comeback, both sides of the coin were believable. In other words, Ricky Morton and Ricky Steamboat, Ricky Morton, even with his size, selling sympathy, whatever. But if he hulked up and became a monster to come back and beat you up, it'd be like, well, but Hogan, you could tell, well, he's down, but the minute he gets to his feet, man, it's over. And I will say this, the Hulk Hogan, I mentioned the Hulk Hogan in Japan. You need to look at Hulk Hogan wrestling in Japan if you don't think he was an amazing wrestler that wrestled as well as being a worker. What Hogan did was, based on everything, and every wrestler should know this, your moveset is way out here off camera on both sides. As you get experience, you learn how to go from being a wrestler to a worker and become a better and better worker. Here's where your moveset goes.
Yeah.
In, until
the Cena 5 moves of doom, right? It got shrunk and shrunk and shrunk.
Classic saying, the 5 moves of doom. I would say it's the 5 moves that draw the most amount of money. John Cena, Hulk Hogan, even Undertaker, even Shawn Michaels for all he can do. There's really 4 to 5 moves that really stand out in his comeback. Bret Hart, every single wrestler that's reached the top of the mountain, the pinnacle, become multi-time world champions, Hall of Famers, and legends, have the Ultimate Warrior, have the smallest amount of moves when they're their most over.
Goldberg, for fuck's sake.
It's so funny. True. It's so funny that you credit that, Craig, because I cut it off. Because he did. The host came in there at the end and he said, I mean, you could throw Goldberg in there too. He's like, yeah, you can. Like, you can because... But Goldberg was it's a good point that you say, Craig, because Goldberg was rushed up the system, right? Hogan and all them learned it. Hogan was in Japan. He did a bunch of other stuff. A lot of other people did. Warrior not so much, but Goldberg even left. So when Goldberg got super popular and he got on the main title circuit, Hulk and them taught him, you just need fucking 4 moves, brother. You know, it's like, but unfortunately with Goldberg, he's a product of not learning the basics, which you should. It's that old adage too of you have to learn the rules before you could break them. And Jesse Hernandez.
Imagine Goldberg trying to do a drop toe hold right now.
Jesse Hernandez taught us that at the wrestling school, Craig. Like some people, because we were hitting the ropes. He's like, nope, you hit the ropes with your back heel up and your right foot. Both feet never leave the ground when you hit the ropes. And someone said, but Jeff Jarrett hits the ropes with one leg up. And he's like, are you Jeff Jarrett? Do you like, and he was like, Jeff Jarrett can do that because he learned the basics and then he learned to do it. Savage, same way. Because when we would bump, he would say, I want to see you slap the mat. And it was hard. We were fucking our elbows up or whatever. We're like, Savage bumps like this. And he did. And he's like, are you Macho Man Randy fucking Savage? No, you're not. And like, he's like, they earned those right. They learned the basics and then they changed it as their injuries became prominent. You know,
Terry broke his leg in his first tryout.
We'll talk about this very briefly. It's just how good he was to the fans.
He had earned those stripes. So whatever Terry did, Bollea did, and Hogan did, it's all the same guy. You know, was earned. You know, that was the whole thing. Yeah. And he got to the point where Hogan wasn't doing the leg drop anymore because he earned it. He's like, I'm just gonna boot you out of the ring. And that's how we're going to do this.
Well, and I didn't do that clip either. But, Stevie was talking about the leg drop, how everybody would bitch that it was so simple, but it really wasn't. Like, he fucked his spine up in his neck. And it ultimately led to his death with all these surgeries or whatever. And then we talked about this, too, with the fan interaction.
As well, we'll talk about this very briefly. It's just how good he was to the fans. He was never above taking a photo or taking a signature. And he was the most in-demand person in the world. He was... Whether you criticize or scrutinize his motives, you know, if he's just trying to do good PR and just keep up his Q rating with fans, it doesn't matter. He was fantastic to his fans. Always made people feel special. Always wanted to. I think Eric Bischoff has said this. Jimmy Hart, people who know him, people who've seen him. He was always the first to talk to the Make-A-Wish kids. I believe he genuinely cared. And you cannot say that about many people, especially when people are tied on the road, especially the schedule that he was keeping at that time. But he made time for fans
we talked about
in that respect as well. Now, having said that, we're going to go to some of the lows of Hulk Hogan, then we're going to have a sort of Jerry Springer's final thoughts, I guess, at the end of it. But
Yeah, so that was just a brief thing. That's the last clip I have or whatever. But yeah, it's really like, it kind of encapsulated what I felt about him. And, it's been a long.
Again,
go ahead.
Him down in the dumps with his head down is how Craig described it, and Craig still approached him for that recording for your wedding, and he said, "Of course I'll do it." The fact that he stayed over twice his time at Night of Champions because his line was 3 times longer than anyone else. Everyone else had gone home except for Mr. T and Hulk Hogan. He made sure everyone got a picture and a real experience. He signed Jess's book in Hogan's autobiography.
I forgot my name. Dave had to tell me what my name was, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty much. My name's Jess.
I got up there, and he was like, "What's your name, man?" I was like, "I like peanut butter." And Dave's like, "Your name's Jess." Like, he's asking your name, and I was like, "Oh," like he had to translate for me.
But, but he sat there and he signed the whole page and he signed stuff for us and he took a good picture and he took time with all of us. It was really cool.
And I will say, like the last, let's call it 6 years, right? Like his period when he lost his shine, he made the decision to where, and I'm not going to go, deep into it. I'll just simply say, when you choose to pick a side in politics, which he did, he had never ever nobody knew Hulk Hogan's politics or what he stood for.
He never took a stance either way,
every single moment. So when he decided to pick a side the last 6 years or so, and he was doing all these appearances for Real American Beer, and you would see these social media posts, he'd probably never experienced that in his life of people judging him
out of buildings,
screaming at him, and that's why probably a lot of people just don't, and that's why I think culture and society used to be you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics, because we didn't know any better, and it was fine. And I think that also pollutes what he's done.
Yeah, we watch pro wrestling to be or sports in general. I hate it when I hear actors and actresses or sports stars or whatever or wrestlers give their politics. I'm like, we watch this to be taken away from it. I want to be taken away from it. I don't fucking care who you vote for, man. I don't, and I just really don't. And I want you to shut up and entertain me because that's what we pay you for, and it's the truth. He
paid a price on that. I don't know if he knew what he was kind of doing, but the last few years,
it's one thing. It's the actors themselves don't go into their movie and then tell you to vote against or for abortion. That's not what they do, right? But if they have a platform at the Oscars or something, I really believe that they have every right to say what they want to say because politics is life. I also have
the right to judge them too. I guess award shows are different. Award shows are different, Dave. To your point,
if they make themselves vulnerable like that, and you're I don't agree with that. Fuck that guy. Then okay, then you deal with it.
It's their thing. I watch movies in sports and wrestling to be taken and transported away. I don't want to remember. I don't want to be reminded of my life. And
I think to your point, Jess, the last time he came out on a children's show. Well, I mean, we watch it obviously too, but it is, WWE is primarily, still orchestrated towards the younger audience. And he came out at WrestleMania touting American beer, with all of his past scrutiny was still fresh in a lot of people's minds of his racism and of his, just carelessness to try to protect his son while his son was in jail for practically killing somebody. And he got booed out of the building.
Well,
that was his last WWE interaction.
That was
Raw. Was that Raw?
That was the first
sorry, it was the Raw. It was Raw after Mania.
Raw was the very first Raw on Netflix.
Oh shit, that's right. So it was after that. You're right. Yeah. So my apologies. So to me, the speculation is just as big as WrestleMania.
That first Raw. To your point, there were some people that were saying "Oh, it's all political or whatever." I'm like, well, he got booed at the first WrestleMania when they let a partial crowd in there after the pandemic. WrestleMania 21, him and Titus O'Neil were the hosts of WrestleMania, and he got booed there too. So he got booed before the Trump thing, before all that, because people are disappointed in him. It was the comments, yes, but that influenced a generation that never experienced him. They don't want anything to do with him, and that's that. You make your bed and now you lay in it. And instead of and I know that he was recorded against his will, that Gawker leaked the tape or whatever. He didn't know, but I refuse to believe that he didn't know that Bubba had cameras in his fucking bedroom, by the way. Because he was, we all forget the reason why he was recorded because he was fucking Bubba's wife with Bubba's consent, by the way. It was a business transaction. And
the whole thing was wild.
Yeah. And Bubba had cameras in his fucking room, and Hulk got caught saying the shit that he said about Brooke's boyfriend and all that stuff or whatever, and dropped the N-word several times, and even said, yeah, I guess I am a racist to a certain point. He said those words. And
he said that. He said those
words. And so people that now are coming along in wrestling that never experienced Hulkamania or the NWO, they have no interest in learning about him because that's what they knew. Like, and so I don't blame people. Again, shit on him if you want. It's your right. He deserves it. He made his bed, and now he's laying in it. And I am a firm believer of that. But I started my journey with him in 1987/1988. That's where I started my journey with Hulk Hogan, and he got me into pro wrestling, and he was my hero for a long time. And
he changed wrestling again with the NWO in 95, 96. I mean, he changed wrestling twice over.
I can't even. I was going to write moments down of his that were truly magical, and I just stopped because I was like, I don't even know if I can fit them all.
There's too many. There's too many.
The earliest thing was slamming Andre was magic, and what they did for the business, they put whatever you want to say between 80 and 90,000 people in that building. And Brian Alvarez was talking about it yesterday on the show. He's like, what a lot of people don't know is they didn't put tickets on sale for WrestleMania 3 until like 6 weeks before the fucking show. And he's like, there was no internet where you could just buy it or whatever. You had to go to a place and buy tickets, whether it was the box office of that. And he's like, because they didn't know if they could sell the Silverdome out, and they didn't know that Andre was going to be healthy. So like they were waiting to see if Andre could do it. And then on top of that, but he's like, the fact that it was Hogan and Andre on the top of the card, they sold whatever you want to believe, whether they put 78,000 in there or they did the 93, whatever, it didn't matter. They did all that in 6 weeks after they announced that it was Hulk versus Andre, and they didn't even. They were doing retro reviews of like the superstars and the wrestling challenges like leading up, and they didn't even announce the venue until like 6 weeks before. So it's like that's unheard of. And
you've got so many moments like that with WrestleMania 3. Then you've got passing the torch to Warrior, which was huge. Even though we know what happened.
The rematch, February 5, 1988. Over 15 million. They got over a 15 million rating in primetime on NBC, which translated to
30 million people watching.
33 million people watched Hulk Hogan and Andre 2.
Which led to one of the greatest storylines ever, almost over 2 years.
The twin referee, the Mega Powers, the twin referee, all of that stuff. Like that was all off the power of Hulk and Andre, and Andre's lure. But it was Hulk Hogan.
And then
it was the guy. I didn't even talk about
fast
before
forward
that.
to
1996, Hulk Hogan and Paul Orndorff broke records. They were the highest grossing world title tour in wrestling history. In 86, when Hulk took on Orndorff, they did such big house show business. They went to Canada in the Exhibition Outdoor Stadium and put like 70,000 people there for a fucking house show in Canada.
And Orndorff has nothing but good things to say about Hulk, and Orndorff destroyed his right arm.
Well, not anymore.
Wanting to be pulled from that program and not wanting to lose that money. He sacrificed his right arm for the rest of
the Saturday Night's Main Event before they announced Hogan and Andre. They had the blow-off match between Hulk and Orndorff from the cage where they both dropped down at the same time. Fucking legendary. Right. Like I remember that like it was it was crazy. Like they did so many great did so many great things in the 80s. We're not even, and Dave even said before that, the Boss Man, the suplex off the cage, like all of these things that Hogan did, beating Savage at WrestleMania 5 and having that second title run and his feud with Mr. Perfect and Bad News Brown and the Boss Man and Zeus of all people. But I mean, Hogan was such a big draw. They weren't afraid to put Zeus and Hulk on a pay-per-view because it's Hulk Hogan. Like they could do whatever they want.
Terry can handle it. I mean, and then you fast forward to the second wave of changing wrestling forever and Bash to the Beach. Hogan becomes the third man and they ride the NWO wave for years. And like I said, you made heels cool. You were able to allow heels to really sell merchandise. I know Vince dabbled in it, but this is where heels. I mean, I'm wearing a Finn shirt right now, and this is a heel moment where Finn is getting 14 staples in his head. These shirts don't sell as heels because heels weren't cool. Heels were hated.
They were the first, and WCW didn't even know how to get their head out of their ass with merchandising. They all black T-shirts with an NWO logo was fucking selling like it was fucking
millions of dollars.
And then Austin came on after
Hogan
that.
made it cool to buy heel merch, basically.
Yeah.
And then not
really.
to
Well,
skip forward,
I think now that I think about it, like I think Austin came up with it first because King of the Ring was July of '96, which was the
Austin 316.
No, it was June. It was a month before Hulk came out, and then Austin did the black after it was Austin 316. I don't remember when they came out with the Black Austin. It might have been Austin, but I mean, right after that was the NWO, and they hit the presses first with the black shirts with the NWO stamp on it.
And both of those shirts still sell today.
It changed wrestling. It changed wrestling. There was no remember the 80s fucking merchandise with the wrestler's face real big on your fucking nobody wanted to wear that. Like when you go to school and shit, you have Ric Flair's fucking face like on your thing or whatever. Like you didn't want that. But then like NWO comes along and Austin 316 and they changed the world. And Vince got edgy because NWO was beating the fuck out of them for a year. Like they were just annihilating Vince. And you did have people over on the other side going like, dude, we got to get edgy. We got to do it. And Vince didn't want to do it at first. And like NWO just beat them to death. And Hulk was at the forefront. And
force Vince to change. Yeah.
The iconic, him spraying the WCW World Title with NWO. That was Hogan that sprayed that NWO that we saw for a year, like on the World Title. Those letters, like Hogan spray painted that on.
Spraying that much was bad.
Somebody fucking has that belt somewhere. I think it's Conrad. Like I think the one that Hulk actually fucking spray painted, was
the first time.
Yeah.
Craig, what were you going to fast forward to?
I didn't want to yada past WCW and NWO, of course, but like just almost at an hour, which we are, and talking about Hogan.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to get to anything else or SummerSlam, and we probably won't. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Rock versus Hogan and what
I knew you were going there,
to be and what that became, and just the ultimate.
Craig, that was my
like.
As a fan, I'll never forget that. Like, because even as a fan, after he left and then they started it, once WCW went under, I mean, WCW had been shit for like a year and a half, 2 years, before that. So Hulk was dead. And the whole company was dead. And then when they brought those three back, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. And they fucked it up. But I mean, but still, when Hulk came back, I remember that initial pop, they had each one talk. And when they handed the mic to Hulk, you heard it. And the arena started to shake a little bit. And I was like, God damn, they remember. And I was very emotional as a fan. And then that famous Rock face-off on that Raw in Chicago, where they were chanting Rocky, and then Hulk looked to his, over his left shoulder, and then all of a sudden people started chanting Hogan. And I just got goosebumps right now. Like, they remembered him. And as a fan, I was like, I'm glad you do, because, he fucking started all this. He started all of this, and how you fuckers forgot. I was still a very cynical fan at the time, just being a big Hogan defender, and I was just like, he's your hero. He was before Austin. He was before Rock. He's the guy. And to hear him get that, and then the crowd cheering him, and then the
regardless
WrestleMania.
Of what you want, Vince, and what you want to happen, the fans ultimately control
it's so funny
what's going to happen, and they.
Yeah. Vince, they both did it to each other, and that was the Vince and Hulk relationship, is they both fucking knew what they had done the first time, but Vince is like, I'm going to downplay you. And then
Vince,
Hulk,
he could not control.
We were not having it. We were not having it, and we didn't agree with it. And and then Hulk, came back in the yellow and red. He beat Triple H, won the undisputed heavyweight title that year as well in 2002, and he feuded with people that we never thought we would hear: Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle. Hulk feuded with Brock Lesnar, and we never would have got that if it hadn't been for him coming back and being such a legend that we accepted him. He got a 8-minute standing ovation the day after WrestleMania 18. The day after he won the world title, he got another big one. These ovations, go back on YouTube and watch them. They're emotional, and to watch him get those things, it was us telling Vince, I don't care if you embrace the Attitude Era more. We know where he came from. We were there for him and you guys when you guys were this WWF trying to close all the territories down. We were there, and it was because of us, and it was because of him, Hogan, and that's what. As a fan, I was so proud, and when he got put in the Hall of Fame in 2005, I really fucking wish he would have left then and retired. I do. I wish he was a normal person and went off in the sunset, because the reaction that he got when he finally went where he fucking deserved to be as a fan, I cried so hard. I remember when I had to ask, she was my fiance at the time, but she later became my wife and now ex. I asked her to go to bed because I cried. like when he got put in the Hall of Fame, because God damn it, I had been there with him like from the beginning. He was the guy. When he left, WWF obviously shit on him and tried to make us forget Hulk. And then when he came back and all of that stuff in 2002 with The Rock and everything we just talked about, he deserved to go in the Hall of Fame. That it was his Hall of Fame. Somebody said this perfectly today. They're like, Hulk Hogan is not on the Mount Rushmore. He is the mountain. Like, and it's fucking true. Like, he just is he just is. And I was so emotional and happy when he got put in the Hall of Fame. And I know later he came to do the Shawn thing, and that was controversial because, you know, the whole SummerSlam thing or whatever. But still, like, that Hall of Fame weekend to me was so, like, I was like so justified as a fan. I was like, yeah, he's the greatest of all time. Like, and you can't fucking doubt it, and stop doubting it. And then WWF obviously got behind him, put all the DVDs out, et cetera, et cetera. So like, I wish that was it. I wish I could say, and that was it. And we didn't hear from him for a long time. And then he came out of the woodwork a couple years ago and then he died. But we all know that's not what happened. And that sucks, you know?
No. So what happened?
It was a rough 20 years for him. If you don't know the history and you didn't grow up with him.
Yeah. Again,
major bad line.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, what's fascinating about the whole thing is not only did all the wrestling threads reach out and talk about it, you know, that I interact with, and I'm sure, you know, Jess, you got into Craig have different threads and it all comes up. But my own mom reached out and said, "I'm so sorry that Hulk Hogan died. How are you doing?"
My mom did too.
She never watched a pay-per-view in her life.
On Facebook,
but she knew. She knows who Hulk Hogan is, just like everyone knows who Hulk Hogan is.
On Facebook, people that I'm friends with, that we went to school with, that I haven't talked to in fucking years, I got so many people reaching out to me going, "Hey man, I'm sorry." Like, and I was, it's kind of cool that I was still known as the Hulkamaniac, which I was when we were growing up and everything. Yeah. And it was
people who are checking in that haven't checked in for months.
Yeah, people
weeks,
called
years,
me and just said, "Hey, I'm really sorry, man. Like, you know, I know he was like your hero." And he was like my Michael Jordan or my Mike Tyson, or like that's who he was to me, or my Magic Johnson or whatever, you know, like he was that guy for me. Like, and so it's hard, you know. I said, like, you know, for a long time I was ashamed to wear this, but I wish that when he got put in the Hall of Fame, he went away and was a good person, and you know, just kind of faded in the dark. And then he had that shitty TNA thing and all that stuff, and like I just hate him for it. And you know, I do, like, I hate that he didn't give back, and I hate the comments that he said, and I hate the jail call to Nick, and I hate it, and because it's gross and ugly, and I hate it, and it affects other people. And we were all shocked as fans, like we're just like, God, like,
heard him say the things he said, right?
It's still shocking to this day, but yeah, I've missed him for 15 years because that's when I disconnected with him, and so now that he's passed, I can say goodbye.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I get it.
I tell my daughter and my kids about him, and they only know the good stuff. They don't know the shit stuff. I don't think they're ready for that yet. I don't want to. They don't even know what that is. They don't know what hatred or racism is, and I won't teach them that yet. Not to hate, but you know what I'm saying. Like that it's out there.
I understand what you're saying. They have to know about it,
but
they have to be ready.
Like, he's my hero, or was, and it's a part that died of me, and that's okay because, like, you know, we know each other. I wouldn't know Joe. Like, you know, Joe found that I liked wrestling. I like wrestling because of Hulk. And then he's like, "Oh, watch this other promotion." And then I watched NWA. And then I met Nathan, and then Dave. I think I remember on the basketball court in junior high where I met Dave, like, because Nathan's like, "Oh, he likes wrestling too." And I met Craig. Craig kind of connected through that. And then I got into drama. I wouldn't have done any of that. Like, if you really go back,
your life would have been totally different without it.
And do all that, if I never liked Hulk Hogan and everything didn't play out exactly the way it was, I would have met totally different people, and we probably wouldn't be doing this podcast. And a lot of people that have said it all week, they wouldn't be here. Like, none of us would. And so it's so bitter fucking sweet because of what he did. And then what he did, and then what he didn't do. Like, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, it's like, God damn it, Hogan. Like, why couldn't you just been the perfect story, right? But I guess life isn't perfect, you know.
Right. Like, I think that was awesome, Jess. And I think it's like maybe, and you get your point when you're probably 65 and he died at 71. He's like, fuck it, I've done everything I need to do. I'm just going to be me and say what I want to say. And ultimately, it hurt him. Which, like, so who was like the real Hogan or whatever? And you take your mask off. It's like, oh fuck, and I'm things aren't as good as I thought it would be, kind of thing. And I'm different.
Don't. You can't say what you want to say and expect to come back onto the national publicized Netflix special.
But goddamn, for 50 years of his life, I think he earned all his flowers and everything he has done for.
And he deserves the negative and the hate too. And like I said, I strongly urge everybody to react the way you want to react, and don't feel bad if somebody says, "Oh, all you're being is negative." Go ahead.
I will say, I get mad. I got mad seeing the hate today because I was like, you don't know him. Like, you haven't processed him. Like, you haven't known him for 35 years.
Right.
Like, you don't get to just be a dick just because you.
But they didn't know him, Craig. Like they started watching wrestling in 2010. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those people now that are on social media, they don't know him. And by the way, like I said, when they became to know him, they knew all of the jail call and the racist stuff and all that stuff. And it was like, they're like, I don't want to get to know him. And he did that to himself. He put the own wall up to block a whole generation of people, of fans, from recognizing this and watching the magic moments that we talked about. We have forgotten like thousands of moments that he provided for us, that he did. But they didn't want to go back because of him. Because he made those choices. And you think of the world's most famous people. It was probably like Muhammad Ali at that point, and then him at some point in the 80s. Like, he was just as big as Eddie Murphy, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was just Michael Jordan. He was just as big as all of them. Like, he really was.
All of them.
This phony professional wrestler was just as big as all of them.
He was
like,
he could have. Imagine if WWE got sold earlier and they could properly export globally. Like, imagine what could have been done. That was even before they were like.
But Craig, you can argue he was already there because in Japan he was very renowned already. Yes. So he was already worldwide because of Japan and everything else. Yeah,
you'd see
kids in people they knew about Stone in the movies, the movies in Japan and other places of the world. But he actually went there and wrestled live. He was doing drop toe holds for fuck's sakes at 330 pounds, and and putting people in leg locks and stuff. I mean, he was working, and he was world renowned, I think, before the Stallones and the Schwarzeneggers and things like that. Because
he was a living superhero. He really was.
He was traveling over there. He was there live, and imagine seeing Hogan. He
was the guy that
6'7" Hogan, a plethora of Japanese people. He was a fucking monster.
When Stallone and all those celebrities would blush to take a picture with Hogan. Like, there was,
for sure.
That's how big he was. It's like athletes were like, fuck, dude. Oh my God, that's Hulk Hogan. Like, it's crazy. Like, to see these fucking mega famous athletes go, holy shit, dude, that's Hulk Hogan. Like, it's crazy. Like, he was a phenom. And I don't know, I don't know what else we could say. I could talk about the good of him for forever, because that's what a big fan I was, and that part of me, that portion of my life up until a certain point, I still am. And there's still times where I'm not going to lie, I'll put him in and watch him and just be like, man, like, you were magic. Like, thank you, like, for sucking me in. And, like, there's so many things, and I can show my kids, and, I can be proud of, and just be like, he was magic. That I just can't, he was lightning in a bottle. He was everything that everybody says about him. He was that big. And I always joked, throughout we were growing up, like, he's the greatest of all time. And I know we always dissect it, right? Well, you have technical, you have and then you have the Bretts that come along and say, no, he wasn't, he was terrible. I'm like, well, listen, man, Hulk Hogan was the greatest professional wrestler of all time. And I'm sorry, like, he just was. And it's not me, like, being the Jess back in the day where I would just say it because we would do it to get under each other's skin. I believe he is. And I believe there's a big portion of him that is the greatest wrestler of all time. And we could always dissect stuff. That's the beauty of, talking about things and dissecting stuff. But he was, like, he really was the biggest and greatest wrestler of all time that we've ever seen.
Early, he was the Mountain.
Yeah.
Craig, do you remember the Ted Lasso scene with his mom at the end? Oh, did you?
No,
but go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. So it kind of puts it up best, where he's like, "Thanks, Mom, for coming. Fuck you for telling me you're not coming. Thank you for being there for me with all your little jokes, but fuck you for not processing Dad's death." That's Hogan in a nutshell. It's like, thank you, but fuck you, dude,
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, fuck you.
But fuck you. Like, that is Hogan in a nutshell. Where I'd probably leave it.
Yeah. So I figured I didn't have any other topics or whatever because obviously we're going to talk about him and his death and everything. And it was emotional for me. And it just happened. We're recording this on Friday evening. It just happened Thursday morning. So we've had barely over 24 hours to really process it and think about things. And I went through all the stages of grief. I was angry. I was sad. And I was mad that he left his legacy a mess. And I was mad that, he died the way he should have died in the sense of a bunch of fucking people, snake oil salesmen, also lying and selling, and he's fine.
Saying he was fine.
A bunch of shit. Yeah. It's a bunch of the greatest wrestler of all time couldn't go out. He just couldn't.
On top of the moments of levity that were hilarious, the memes have been fucking crazy.
Just right after the procedure, whatever happened, we're gonna find stuff out. To Dave's point earlier, we'll find out everything soon. But I mean, it's instead of them just coming forward saying he had a procedure, we knew it was tough already, and then something happened.
I believe Bubba more and more each day, and I want to drag it on, but I think he was going home as hospice when he was going home.
And I'm not saying any of the venom would have been less, but maybe if they were honest, unlike Hulk was his whole fucking career, he always had to shrill shit and do this bullshit.
They lied about the whole
maybe we could have healed over the last couple of months and gotten the venom out early and then started being well, he's not doing well. Let's start thinking about what he did great and why a lot of us watched this and all that. But instead, it ended the way it should.
He was carny to the end.
Yeah.
He was never not carny. And he was always trying to carny his way.
I can't even say goodbye officially. Yeah, it's like he went up. But again, you make your bed and now you lay in it. You deserve this, and this is the greatest wrestler of all time.
I don't think I want 2 weeks of him saying oh, I have so many doubts and I did so many things wrong. Just fucking carny it to the end.
Maybe you're right, Craig. Maybe this is super fitting. It had to happen this way.
I don't know. Again, and now a moment of levity.
We had some great jokes in comedy, I have to say, over the last couple of months. The idea of propping him up like Weekend at Bernie's is fucking hilarious, and just all of it's great.
We're allowed to do it. You know why? Because we love him. That's why. It's and
we're mad at him. And we're mad at him.
We earned it. Okay. We earned it. We earned all of that.
Yeah, I'm a little upset if you're pure, but I, as we said the entire time, completely understandable. But I'm a little upset at people that don't respect what he did, his art, and just shit on the artist immediately or just know him for the last 5 years.
It's okay.
You don't know. There's 45, 50 years of stuff there. You got to respect him.
When you say things that are so hurtful to certain people,
and to your point, Dave, they deserve to shut him off. Then fuck him. You know what I mean? Yes. If you fucking damage someone, you don't deserve. Because as much as he reached out and touched our hearts as kids, he hurt these people. That generation coming up. And so you deserve it. Again, I can't say it enough. You've made your bed and he's laying in it permanently now. And it is what it is. And we will. And as the years go on, I think people will maybe soften and they'll go back and watch some of these magic moments. And I want you to go back and watch the Hulk and Andre. I want you to go back and watch the build up to the Mega Powers exploding. I do. And I want you to watch the Boss Man cage match. I want you to watch all that stuff, man, and be just as excited as I was at 10.
Go back and watch some of that Japan stuff.
And now we're going to lead out the episode with Hulkster in Heaven from the Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band CD. And this YouTube will probably get fucking taken down, but you should definitely lead out with that.
God damn it, Craig. That's genius.
25 seconds. You have it? I'm sure you still have the CD.
I do. Right? I do have the fucking CD. Yeah. I'm a terrible person.
Hulkster in Heaven.
I'm a terrible person. So, hey, thanks for going on this journey with me. Hulk...
Love you,
hey
Hulk.
man, thanks. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to retire the shirt and everything because I think it's time and I could say goodbye and so yeah, it's okay.
If you burn it, make sure you record it.
I'll put that on, but I'm not. I'm going to fold it up and I'm going to put it in a box and it's going to be one of those things that every few years, that I look at fondly and just kind of put my hand on it and then close the box again because it's time.
Weird.
I wish that he gave me a reason to keep celebrating all year round, but I have to say that it's okay.
I get it,
and I'm glad to say goodbye, and it's all right. The 10-year-old Jess says it's cool. It's all right. He's a great.
Andre's getting slammed, telling you that the pod is what? Craig? Yep. All right.
Stop your pants.